All right, in case anyone missed this, Baker Mayfield took a shot at Kevin Stefanski on Twitter yesterday.
When I first saw that, I thought it was like a fake.
It is not fake,
Yeah.
and I'm going to read you guys the exchange in case anyone hadn't seen it. D. Orlando Ledbecker, who is the Falcons beat writer of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Yeah, he's been around forever, that guy.
Yes, longtime Falcons beat writer. Had an article in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that he tweeted out with the headline of this: Falcons' Kevin Stefanski had a dumpster fire at quarterback in Cleveland. Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson failed, which started a chain reaction to 11 other starters. Quarterback Shedeur Sanders closed out last season with 7 starts. Baker Mayfield took exception to that, and he responded with this. And Steve, you want to take tag boards over so you can see it? Quote, "Failed is quite the reach, pal. Still waiting on a text call from him after I got shipped off like a piece of garbage. Can't wait to see you twice a year, coach."
If Baker had just done the first sentence, failed is quite the reach, I would have agreed with him. Baker didn't fail here. He was up and down. To call Baker's time in Cleveland a failure, I would never and I've been harder on him than anybody.
It was not a failure.
I would not call it a failure his time here. I think that's an unfair line. And then Baker, of course, did what Baker does and embarrasses himself with the rest of that. Calling out Kevin Stefanski is lame, and he looks petty. Most quarterbacks would not do that, especially quarterbacks as unaccomplished as him. I have heard from multiple sources, and I know other people that work on the show have heard it also, that nobody in the organization could get Baker on the phone after his last season here. Long before they talked to the Texans about Deshaun Watson. And then once the Browns, Baker wasn't returning calls. I've heard this consistently, okay, from multiple people, from multiple callers. And then they went and got Watson, which you could say whatever you want. We all know the trade's a disaster, worst trade of all time. At the time, most of us, certainly myself included, thought it was a great trade because Deshaun Watson pre-Cleveland, it's easy revisionist history now. Deshaun Watson pre-Cleveland was fantastic. He was certainly a lot better than Baker Mayfield. Obviously, it has failed spectacularly, and Baker wanted to be traded. And by the way, if Baker was so great, wouldn't the Browns have been able to get more than a 4th-round pick for him? No. He was inconsistent. He's continued. Obviously, he's been better in Tampa. He struggled the second half of this year. He's probably the worst quarterback in football second half of the year. I know somebody will make the injury excuse because every time Baker doesn't play well, we hear the injury excuse, unlike any other quarterback. I've never seen this before. So that's it. I mean, Baker, that's who Baker is, right? He takes shots at Kevin Stefanski. Stefanski would never do that to Baker. Say what you want. I'm not a huge Stefanski fan, but at least he does things with class. I thought this was really lame by Baker. And yeah, congratulations. You got about a 500 record in the worst division in football since you've gone to Tampa.
I think you go a little further than I would go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that your disdain for Baker clearly...
It's clouding my judgment?
No, I don't think it's clouding your judgment.
Yeah.
I think it's making it come across as like...
Personal?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But I know it's not personal with you and Baker. I think that you definitely had some... nothing personal with him.
No.
Just it's about his performance, and frankly, it's probably been more so with the Baker fans.
Yeah.
And the non-Baker fans, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But
so there was a cult. There was a cult.
There was. It's not Shedeur level, but there was a cult.
There was.
We called them the Baker Bros for a reason.
Now, the one thing I'd say is and you made a good point, is most quarterbacks just wouldn't do that.
Right.
Even if you felt a certain way about a head coach, it's probably not the time or the place to do that. Baker's unconventional. I mean, he doesn't play the position like most quarterbacks. He doesn't speak like most quarterbacks. I did, however, think he changed his tune a little bit when he got to Tampa, matured a little bit more, and I like that. I like those.
As soon as things started going poorly,
it
he
seems
reverted
like
a little.
Well, and that's part of being a human.
Yeah.
You know, we all revert as to who we are at times, even if we are trying to work on certain things in our lives. But so I'm not going to denigrate the guy and be like, this guy stinks, or he's the same old Baker. I don't think that's the case. I think he's grown up.
Yeah.
I think he's found the Lord, and he's got a kid, and he's part of growing up, right? We've all been there. But I don't love that look. You wouldn't see that from Mahomes. You wouldn't see that from Josh Allen. Like, you wouldn't see it from those other franchise guys. And so it makes you wonder, is he how grown up really is he?
Yeah.
You know, even though I'm happy he's having success. I got no ill will toward the guy. You know, when he was here, I think I liked him. Thought he was good. Thought he got hurt. And then he played like crap, and then he just kind of wanted to scorch earth on the way out of here.
And it wasn't like Stefanski said something bad about him. This was a reporter doing a report. I do think the comment about failed was unfair.
Yeah.
That was unfair, but why take a shot at Stefanski?
I think this is a case study, and people don't quit organizations, they quit direct leaders. When people have issues, they don't know the CEO. They know the guy that they're dealing with directly on a day-to-day basis. And if you look at the track record over the 6 years Kevin Stefanski has been here, he has been very poor at communication. He has been very poor at messaging, and he seems to
with the media. I don't know if he is with the players.
I can just give you what they say. Baker Mayfield still has a problem with him.
Well, Baker Mayfield's had a problem with every coach.
Myles Garrett had a problem with him.
When did Myles Garrett have a problem?
Myles Garrett, do you think continuity and Coach Stefanski? I just want to get it done. Myles Garrett also wanted a trade, requested a trade, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The team stunk.
Okay. Odell Beckham Jr. He had a problem with Kevin Stefanski, right?
Again, another malcontent type of player.
Kareem Hunt had a problem with Kevin Stefanski.
He did?
Yeah. Listen,
I don't remember that.
I'm just saying. We can continue down the list of
I just don't remember Kareem Hunt.
Let you get his point out here.
Okay,
Deshaun Watson, not the best relationship with Kevin Stefanski, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we continue to work. Shador Sanders, did they have a great relationship? No.
I guess
DTR
not.
says, hey, man, I didn't even know I was playing. Twice. Didn't even know I was even starting. Jameis Winston, hey, Kevin, you're giving up play calling. I came here to be under you. Why are you giving the playbook away? You didn't even tell me. The problem is, Bull, we can't have it. One time it's cool, but I done seen multiple players in multiple positions over a series of years have a problem with Kevin Stefanski. And the theory is, just like in this piece, they write articles and say it was that person's fault. It was this person. Kevin has been painted as some victim because he doesn't speak. He doesn't give you anything in press conferences. He gives this veneer as if, oh, I'm just the guy going along with the thing and it was never my fault. Well, guess what? That's not true. You got people that said multiple cases where the communication has not been good. Put on top of that, the production hasn't been good. Put on top of that there's been rumblings about you giving the playbook, here, take this, bring it back. The bottom line is Kevin Stefanski just does not have the problem with people with Shador Sanders. There's people that like Baker Mayfield who's saying to him, look, hey, it's the communication. He's not saying he was a garbage coach. He said in the piece, I'm still waiting for the text message.
But you were going to ignore the fact that that's not true?
What you mean?
That's not true.
So Baker Mayfield is saying that Baker's saying he didn't get a call from Kevin Stefanski.
He's lying.
So how?
I mean, I don't know that firsthand fact. But I've heard it from enough reliable people that I think he was lying.
Did Kevin talk to him?
No, that Kevin tried to talk to him and he wouldn't take Kevin's call.
The reports that have been out there, I'm pretty sure they're out there, was that the organization tried to call Baker and he was sending him straight to voicemail.
Yes. So how's that Kevin Stefanski's fault?
So here's what I'm saying to you is, a lot of times we be talking about stuff.
Yeah.
Where there is smoke, there tends to be. I just gave you an example of 10 players. Are all 10 of those players?
First of all, it wasn't 10. Second of all, some of them are stretches. Some of them you're calling they've had a beef with Stefanski, and I don't even know if that's accurate. We don't know that. You mentioned Jameis Winston. I don't think he had a beef with Stefanski.
Jameis Winston came out and said he did not know that he was turning play callers over to Dorsey, and he came here specifically to run the offense Kevin had. He said it.
That doesn't necessarily mean he had a beef with Stefanski.
It's not, Bull. It's not. We're not saying that we're gonna go to blows. What we're saying that there's a pattern of people coming out,
and it's a pattern of some of those guys have a problem wherever they go, right?
So Kevin Stefanski
Kareem Hunt, bad guy. Deshaun Watson, bad guy. Baker Mayfield hates every coach. Odell Beckham has a problem with everywhere he goes.
So there's the
only good example. Myles Garrett fought. Myles Garrett, no problem.
So we talk about narratives.
Yeah.
Why do you think players are a little disturbed? Because every time somebody brings up something about Kevin Stefanski, the cape goes on. The media goes, hold on. No, it's not Kevin. The cape is going, hold on. It's not Kevin. We heard articles. Listen, Kevin been gone weeks. We heard day after day after day after day after day after day. Why is Andrew here? Why is he still here? Why is this person's here? Kevin should be here. Kevin didn't do anything.
No. I don't understand. You and I are having a debate, and you're using as part of your argument something I've never said.
I'm not talking about you.
I've said consistently Kevin should be gone. Because you and I are debating.
You're internalizing it.
You and I are having a debate.
You're internalizing it. You're saying that I'm saying.
There's plenty of people that wanted Stefanski gone.
But
plenty of people that wanted
What
Stefanski
I'm saying, Baker Mayfield is just the tip of the iceberg. All I'm showing you right now is that Kevin Stefanski had a lack of communication and poor leadership when it came to talking to players. It's been a track record of it.
There's a lot of players that like him too. A lot of offensive.
Well, who jumped up and Wyatt Teller? I guess they didn't have a good relationship at the end either.
It certainly soured at the end, and that's what. And you know what? Part of that is why Stefanski's gone.
That's all I'm saying.
But some of those are stretches that you brought up.
Odell Beckham is a stretch.
Odell Beckham has been a disaster after his first 3 years in the league. So he's done nothing.
So that's a stretch.
Nobody wants him. He's a problem.
So this is the thing. When you paint.
What did Odell say about Kevin Stefanski specifically?
Listen, it was the reason half the locker room was split. What are you talking about? Half the people were salty that he got him in the middle of the year. Jarvis Landry.
Isn't that Andrew Berry's job?
Look,
that's Andrew Berry, not Kevin Stefanski.
All I'm saying, Bull, is
No. You just blamed Kevin Stefanski for something Andrew Berry did.
So if Kevin Stefanski goes to Andrew Berry and says, this guy got to go, I'm not seeing eye to eye with him, what do you think Andrew Berry's going to do?
Well, Andrew Berry traded Joe Flacco. Kevin Stefanski wanted him. He didn't listen to him then.
Well, guess what? He had no power back then. He got it now.
Oh, come on.
He don't got it now?
You don't know that.
I do.
Every positive thing you want to give credit to Berry, and now you're going to blame him for cutting Beckham.
This is not
Beckham was a bum here.
Listen,
he was a bum. He was a huge disappointment.
So the reality of the situation is, I keep giving you examples. You refute those examples. You say that can't be true. But then you pivot.
Some of them are true. Yes, some of them are true.
This ain't an Andrew Berry conversation.
You brought up Andrew Berry.
No, you brought Andrew Berry up.
Who brought up Andrew Berry?
You said that he traded him. And you said Andrew Berry traded him.
You said everybody wanted Andrew Berry fired. You brought him up first.
Guess what? I did say that back then, but what I'm telling you, that wasn't in the context of what we're talking about right here. The context of this argument is Kevin Stefanski is not blameless. And Kevin Stefanski.
Who's saying he's blameless? Nobody would say that. Nobody. Not even Jason, who defends him, would say he's blameless.
I don't know about that. But no.
Yeah, I know about that.
I don't know.
Nobody would say he's blameless.
I'm not saying. Listen, the reality of the situation is, Baker Mayfield came out and said that. A lot of people been writing, talking about Kevin Stefanski for a very long time. I told you. At the end of the day, I wish him nothing but best of luck, right? But I hope in his new job, he realizes that his communication has to be better in order to get through to people on his team, because that was a major problem. And for somebody to reach out 4 years later after it's all been said and done shows.
Isn't that petty? I'm the king of petty, so I know petty.
The question here is, was the shot justified or not?
Would any other quarterback have said that?
Put it to you like this: Would I have said it? I would have kept it pushing. Would I have dipped back? No, because I always feel like this: if I'm in a position where I'm confident, where I'm at right now, I don't really care about that. I ain't got to keep talking about you. I'm worried about the Buccaneers and what we gonna do. So for me, I wouldn't have said it. But Baker is Baker, right? I can't control his emotions. That's who he is, like Dustin said.
Yeah.
But it also goes to show you that when somebody still mentions that, he was hurt by that. So when people is hurt about a situation because they felt like, hey, I was owed better, people tend to still internalize that and be like, listen, it's cool, but I was hurt by the feeling. He said, they got me out like a piece of garbage. When you say I felt like a piece of garbage, that he's telling, I can't tell him how he feels, but for you to say that means in your heart you felt like lower than low. I felt like garbage when you did that.
It's a business. Guys get cut and traded all the time.
Hey, it is.